On the day of a $400 million deal with an overseas company, our beautiful CEO had meticulously prepared for this moment. However, just before the meeting, the interpreter hadn't shown up, putting us in a tight spot. At this rate, the deal. Without an interpreter, we couldn't effectively highlight our selling points or provide detailed explanations, potentially leading to the deal falling through. As the CEO and the others were getting anxious, the beautiful German CEO from the other company appeared. She frowned as she watched our boss try to explain the situation in broken German, but her expression suddenly changed when she saw my face. Could it be? No, I'm sure it's you. It's been 8 years, hasn't it, former genius boy? My name is Ken, 29 years old. I currently work as the personal driver for Amy, the CEO of Raintree Inc. Ma'am, your car is ready, I said as I opened the door to the back seat. You're right on time, as always. Thank you. Amy got into the car, the sound of her high heels clicking on the pavement. Thank you for your kind words. I appreciate it deeply, closed the rear door, and took my seat at the wheel. At just 26 years old, Amy became the CEO of the company. Her determination is remarkable, and she never wavers once she's made a decision. Her father, the former CEO, passed away suddenly, and she took over the position. Although, I've heard from others that not everyone was happy with this change. Should I head straight to the office, ma'am? Yes, please. Let's get moving. Her tone can be a bit harsh, but I've gotten used to it after driving her every day. Sigh. That Vice President Tom is always giving me a headache. Why does he always choose the worst times? Akane crossed her arms and furrowed her brows. I watched her through the rearview mirror. I can't stand it anymore. I have to tell him directly. She picked up the car phone and called Tom. I quietly turned down the volume of the car's music and slowed down a bit. Tom, how many times do I have to tell you not to act without consulting me? Her tone was sharp and agitated, even more so because she was talking to Tom, with whom she had a contentious relationship. Amy and Tom led two major factions within Raintree Inc., often clashing over the company's direction. Amy was focused on expanding further into the overseas market, wanting to broaden the company's reach. In contrast, Tom wanted to strengthen their domestic market presence. Personally, I agreed with Akane's approach. Americans are very receptive to overseas trends and often want to use or incorporate them. If the products originated from American companies, they would be highly sought after. Essentially, Americans prefer made-in-US products from the international market over domestic ones. Strengthening the overseas market ultimately benefits the domestic market, making it a good strategy. However, the international market is highly competitive, and surviving there is not easy. On the other hand, I can understand the conservative group's preference for staying in the relatively secure domestic market with guaranteed profits. No matter how brilliant the product idea is, it becomes worthless if the company goes under. Many employees seem to side with Tom, making it the prevailing sentiment. Seeing Amy's efforts up close, I feel empathetic, and the current situation saddens me. As her personal driver, I can only watch silently as they argue. Ugh, he just doesn't get it. Amy sighed in frustration after hanging up the phone. Ma'am, we'll arrive at the office in about 2 or 3 minutes. Oh, really? Time flies when I'm on the phone in the car. It's like a miracle how we always arrive just as I finish my calls. Indeed it is. I smiled as I responded to her. After arriving at the office and dropping her off, I parked the car and headed to the CEO's office. Excuse me. When I knocked on the door and entered the CEO's office, she was already busy working at her desk. Amy may have a somewhat stern personality, but her seriousness and diligence are her best qualities. Without saying a word, I took out my cleaning tools and started cleaning the CEO's office. Actually, I have another title at this company besides personal driver for the CEO. I'm also the personal cleaner for the CEO's office. I quietly cleaned every corner to avoid making noise. I saved cleaning around Amy's desk for last to avoid disturbing her. She whispered a small "thank you" without turning away from her computer, her voice almost drowned out by the sound of her typing. She occasionally thanks me like this, even though she never lets me see her face, probably out of embarrassment. Seeing the back of her head as she sat at her desk still made me happy. As I was putting away the cleaning tools in the supply room, the door to the CO's office suddenly opened, and Tom walked in. "Good morning, Tom," I greeted him. He snorted with laughter. "A driver and cleaner, huh? You only do jobs anyone could do. It's pathetic. I can't believe the CO keeps someone like you around. No wonder not many people want to work with her." Tom looked at me as if I were garbage on the street. "I'm grateful to this company for keeping me. I hope to work hard every day to earn recognition from someone as great as you, Tom," I replied and tried to keep my expression neutral. "What are you two doing near the door?" "Tom, let's get to our meeting," Amy called out. "Understood, ma'am," Tom replied, clicking his tongue as he walked to the center table in the office. The next day, I went to pick up Amy as usual. On the way, I saw Tom from my driver's seat. "Huh? Tom?" It was still early to be heading to the office, and he was chatting with a few men outside what looked like a members-only bar. Then, Tom shook hands with the men. Wondering who they were, I continued driving to Amy's house as the light turned green. "Good morning, Ms. Rain," I greeted as Amy approached. She stopped abruptly. "Calling me like that is what you call my father. I've told you to call me Ms., as I'm not quite at his level yet." "Sorry, ma'am," I apologized, occasionally slipping up out of habit. Amy got into the back seat, and I sat in the driver's seat. "By the way, I have something to discuss with you." "Is that okay?" she asked. "A discussion? What do you need to talk about?" I was a bit taken aback, as this wasn't common. "Actually, we've landed a big deal with a foreign company. Congratulations." "Thanks. I need to give a presentation to this company, and I'd like you to prepare the materials." "Me? Really?" I was surprised by Amy's unexpected request. Glancing at her in the rearview mirror, I saw her serious expression. "Yes. I need you to summarize the features of products from other overseas markets so that we can highlight the attractiveness of our products. I believe you can do it. Why would you entrust such an important presentation to me? I'm just a driver and cleaner," I asked. Amy exhaled slowly. "I think someone attentive is best suited to identify the finer qualities of each product. You're the most attentive person I've ever met. I've noticed that you slow down the car to give me time to make calls, or lower the volume when necessary. You're always aware of the details. I feel that the perspective of someone like you is crucial for showcasing our products." "I see. Please, help me with this. Just this once?" I was honestly torn. I wanted to help her, and I was really happy that she appreciated the little things I did every day. But I was also afraid that taking on a job outside my usual duties as a driver or janitor might trigger a trauma from my past. "Is it a no? It's just this once." I thought long and hard, but looking at Amy's face, I realized my desire to help her outweighed my fear. "All right. If you're okay with me, I'll take the job. But I can't guarantee the material will be exactly what you want." "It's fine. I trust you." I wasn't sure what she was confident about or why she trusted me, but I could see her eyes sparkling as she looked at me. 3 days later, while driving Amy to the office, I handed her the presentation materials she had asked for. "Amy, here's the material you requested. You finished it this quickly?" Amy took the materials and began to read through them slowly. I focused on the major companies with the largest market share. For example, the appeal of companies' products from China is their low cost. This allows them to manufacture large quantities. Recently, the quality has also improved. However, there is still a significant gap compared to other companies. Recently, products that last longer are valued in Europe and the US, so customers are shying away from cheap products with a higher risk of needing replacement, like those from Company A. Amy listened intently and nodded in agreement as I spoke. And regarding Company B from Germany, their strength lies in durability and quality. However, their costs are much higher compared to others. I considered buying from them once, but as a student, I couldn't afford it. "I see. Our company's products, on the other hand, are less expensive than Company B's and higher in quality than Company A's. This is our biggest selling point. Plus, since you became the boss, we've managed to balance functionality and design aimed at the international market. This is another strength of our products. As I summarized the presentation, I noticed Amy's eyes sparkling even more. See, you can do it when you try. Have you ever done this kind of work before? Amy seemed excited, as if my presentation materials had really impressed her. No, I just happened to find the information online while researching. Really? But you mentioned a personal experience with Company B's products earlier. Oh, that was just from what I saw online. I eventually gave up on buying it. But Company B's products were only sold in Germany until 2 years ago, right? Were you in Germany when you were a student? Oh, I just happened to come across it online by chance. Amy stared at me, as if trying to read my thoughts, then put the materials in her bag. Anyway, let's flesh out the presentation based on this material. I have some free time this afternoon, so let's have a meeting in my office then. Wait, wasn't my job just to make the materials? What are you talking about? You made such wonderful materials. Think about the sense of accomplishment you'll feel if you close the deal yourself. I'm sure we can do it together. All right. I'll help as much as I can. I wondered why she was so confident. Pushed by Amy's enthusiasm, I reluctantly agreed to help her. From then on, we spent every day in the CEO's office, preparing for the business meeting. How about emphasizing the design aspect more, like you mentioned? That sounds good. But since we've included the good points of both Company A and B, it could be a double-edged sword for us. So, let's focus on highlighting our product's strengths. For example, we could add more design materials or create a new design for the meeting. Oh, I was thinking the same. If we're going to emphasize design, it's better to bring a new design product. Honestly, I really enjoyed the meetings with Amy. We acknowledged each other's opinions and brainstormed together on improvements. It made me happy. Just then, the door to the CEO's office opened. Tom appeared. Amy, I heard you've secured a meeting with an overseas company. That's right, and it's with EGP, a major international company. Just getting a seat at the table with them is impressive. This is all thanks to everyone's hard work in product development. When Tom walked in, I honestly thought the atmosphere would become tense again. However, it seemed like he somewhat appreciated the fact that we secured the appointment for the business meeting with EGP. I felt slightly relieved, but then Tom's next words made the room feel ice cold. But this is a major deal, and the competition is fierce. Considering our recent struggles with international business negotiations, are you confident about this? At Tom's words, Amy's eyebrows twitched slightly. We're fine. We've prepared much better presentation materials this time. Presentation materials, huh? I've heard you created them with your personal assistant. Presenting his work in front of that big corporation. I wouldn't do anything so embarrassing. It's like submitting a grade school summer essay as a Harvard or Cambridge thesis, right? Tom smirked at me, but I turned away, refusing to engage. Given our recent failures, this is the last chance, right? If this deal falls through, you'll have to step down as CEO. Got it? This was clearly a provocation from Tom. If Amy accepted it lightly, her position would really be at risk. I looked at her and silently shook my head. But she didn't notice and stared straight at Tom. Fine, I'll accept those terms. What? As I was shocked, Tom's laughter echoed through the office. Remember what you just said. I'm looking forward to it. With that, Tom left the office. Are you okay with accepting such terms so easily? We're fine. The presentation this time is much better than before. Somehow, what was supposed to be a simple preparation of materials had turned into something much bigger, and I felt a bit gloomy. Even so, Amy and I continued to prepare for the business meeting smoothly. The new design version we had planned was completed on time, and everything was ready. Anyway, I'm glad the product for the presentation is finished. Yes, now we just have to wait for the meeting day. I plan to drive you close to the location on the day of the meeting. What time should I pick you up? When I asked for the schedule, Amy tilted her head. What are you talking about? Just to be safe, we're gonna stay at the inn where the meeting is being held. That's true. Being late for the meeting would leave a bad impression. So, I'll stay at the office and organize things that day. What? You're coming with me, of course. Huh? This way, we can discuss things until late. Prompted by Amy, I ended up staying at the inn with her before the meeting. 2 days before the meeting, we arrived at the inn, which was also the meeting location. This inn has a lot of charm, right? I love this place. My dad used to bring me here during summer vacations. Amy looked up at the inn signboard with a somewhat wistful expression, as if reminiscing distant memories. Then, the innkeeper guided us to Amy's room. This room. I used to stay here with my dad often. Wow, as expected of the CO's room. It's incredibly spacious. So, where's my room? Here. Here? Yes, here. As if it was the most natural thing in the world, she answered, and I pinched my cheek. Same room? Yes. I told you, we need to discuss things late. It'd be inconvenient to have separate rooms, right? But are you sure you're okay with this? Why not? There's no problem. It became clear that, in Amy's mind, I was just a driver, a cleaner, an assistant for the meeting, and nothing more. Oh, but at night we're definitely sleeping in separate beds. Of course. Amy laughed playfully. After that, there wasn't much tension before the meeting. We each took a shower, ate a delicious meal together, and relaxed in the room for a bit. Until now, we had only talked about work in the car or at the office, so seeing Amy in her off hours felt refreshing. Can you drink alcohol? I can. Well, just a little. With that, she pulled out some glasses and opened a bottle of alcohol she had bought at some point, and we toasted. A pleasant breeze blew in through the slightly open window. On that breeze was the scent of Amy's shampoo. The moonlight streaming in from the sky made her seem much more mature. Honestly, I'm really nervous right now. Her true feelings suddenly spilled out. I smiled gently. Even though I took over the company from my dad, I'm still just a kid. Nothing is going well. I don't even know if I can protect the company my dad cherished. Honestly, I think Tom is more experienced and seems to think more about the company. I sometimes wonder if he would be a better CEO than me. The ice in Amy's raised glass clinked softly. Anyone would be nervous if they became the CEO of a company. You won't know who's suitable until you try. Even if Tom became CEO, there's no guarantee things would go well. He might even do worse than you, Amy. What's important isn't protecting the company, but wanting to protect the people in it. That's true. I think it's important to make this deal a success and make the company a place where everyone feels secure. My dad always said to think of the employees as family. Probably, the one who dislikes me being CEO the most is Tom. But as long as he's an employee of our company, I consider him family too. I secretly respected Amy for never losing her core values. You're amazing, Amy. Honestly, I'm scared of being with people. I'd rather be alone if possible. Scared of being with people? Why? Her innocent eyes made me feel like my heart was lightened. It's probably because I knew she always expressed her feelings honestly without any pretense. I used to be a manager in the sales department of a company. I got pretty good results too. But gears start to go out of sync without you realizing it. When I was focused on my path, I found there was no one behind me. My meeting materials were burned, and I faced various forms of harassment. Because of that, I started hating building relationships with others. Oh, so that's why you became a driver? Yes. As a driver, I don't have to talk to anyone. Same with being a janitor. When I looked down at my glass, I felt like I could see my past self reflected there. Even now, various regrets flash back, and I get scared of building strong relationships with anyone. I had such trauma. But after meeting you, Amy, I started feeling a bit lighter. I thought it would be fun to be with you. Me? Yes. You always have the courage to face forward. I understand that you cry and worry secretly. I've always seen your expressions in the rearview mirror while driving. When I said that, Amy suddenly blushed. You're always living on edge. I know you feel like you're stretching yourself since becoming CEO. But still, you try to become the strong president that others expect you to be. I wanted to face her heart to heart, so I looked at her firmly. You don't need to strive for that image. You're doing more than enough. I find the real you the most attractive. After saying what I wanted to say, I smiled at her. Then Amy put her hand on her chest and took a deep breath. It's a bit embarrassing to show my weak side to someone, but I'm glad it's you who made me open up. With that, we unconsciously timed our drinks together. All right, we've come this far, so I'll help you all the way with this deal. I'll do anything I can to help. A bit tipsy, I stood up and declared my determination, and Amy laughed. Thank you. I'm counting on you, Ken. At that moment, it was the first time Amy called me by my name. When I saw her tuck her hair behind her ear in the moonlight, my heart skipped a beat. And then the day of the meeting arrived. Having shared our anxieties that night, our relationship had become much closer. All right, let's go. We headed to the meeting room together. The representatives from EGP hadn't arrived yet. Is the person we're meeting with Americans? No, it's the CEO of EGP, so they're Germans. The CEO of EGP, personally, for some reason, I felt like I knew something about the CEO of EGP. We've arranged for an interpreter today. They should be here soon. We sat in the meeting room waiting for the interpreter, but they never showed up. That's strange. Maybe you should try calling them? Yeah, I should. When I said that, she started making a phone call, but after a while, she came back looking flustered. Ken, listen. The interpreter we arranged for today has canceled. They got booked for something else. What? What are we gonna do? Seeing her worried expression, I tried to think of a solution, but before I could come up with anything, the EGP representatives arrived. Hello. Thank you for coming from so far today, Ms. Jessica Sterling. When Amy said the name of our business contact, I turned around instantly. Jessica? When I looked at her face, Jessica, the CEO of EGP, also looked surprised. Wow, Ken? Jessica's face lit up and he hugged me. About 8 years, right? Genius. Yeah. And you're still just as touchy-feely. Oops. Sorry. I forgot you weren't into hugs, Ken. I'm Ken. Do you know Miss Sterling? Oh well, actually, Jessica and I went to university together. You went to university together? Miss Sterling, you're from Germany, right? Yes. So Ken, you went to a university in Germany too? Yeah, that's right. And Ken was the genius of geniuses. His papers were always more advanced than the professors. Now, Ken's papers are even part of the regular exam questions. Ken, that's amazing. Amy was frozen with her mouth open. If the interpreter isn't coming, I'll do the interpreting. Jessica's English is decent, but business English is tough, right? Business English is a bit difficult. Jessica spread her arms dramatically and laughed playfully before entering the meeting room first. Come on, Amy. The meeting starts now. Jessica may be friendly, but she's still the CEO of a company. So let's showcase everything we've prepared. When I looked Amy in the eye and said this, she nodded firmly with a determined expression. We presented everything we prepared for a long time, and our presentation ended. Your presentation was perfect. Everything you wanted to convey came through, and this new design is cute and very good. Thank you. Regarding the contract, we'd love to work with you at Raintree. Really? Thank you so much. Is that okay, Jessica? Of course. It has nothing to do with you, Ken, being here. Actually, I was most impressed by Amy's passion. I felt that with her, we could definitely bring amazing products to the world. Jessica said this and winked at Amy. Then Henry signed the large contract worth $400 million. After finishing the contract with Jessica, Amy and I returned to the company. Since the finance department had already been informed of the contract amount, the news that Amy had secured a $400 million deal spread throughout the company. Amy, congratulations, Amy. You're amazing. Many employees were cheering for Amy's return. Then, Tom came running down the stairs so fast he almost fell. He was out of breath when he reached Amy. "Did you really sign a contract with EGP?" "Of course," Amy said, showing the contract to Tom. Tom's face turned pale as he looked at the contract. "This can't be happening." "But, the interpreter," as Tom muttered to himself, I stood before him. "So, it was you who canceled the interpreter?" "No, there's no use hiding it. If we contact the interpreter's agency, we can check the records and find out quickly." As I pressed Tom, he collapsed to his knees. "And I heard something from Jessica, the CEO of EGP. Tom, she told me you were secretly trying to sell Raintree." When I said that, the gathered employees began to stir. "That can't be true, is it? Actually, Jessica knew you were connected to an executive at Company A in China. She's famous for thoroughly investigating any company she signs contracts with. In her investigation, she found out about your connection with Company A and your plan to sell Raintree to them if the deal went through. No way to that extent. So, you schemed to become CEO if this deal fell through. If the contract with Jessica hadn't been finalized, the company would have been sold, and all the employees would have been left jobless or forced to work under harsh conditions. Isn't that right?" As I revealed the truth, the surrounding employees began to shout at Tom. "Please forgive me. From now on, I'll dedicate myself to the company," Tom pleaded with Amy, but she stepped away from him. "Family is bound by trust. I can't let someone who tried to betray that trust stay in this company." Amy's stern gaze pierced Tom. In the end, Tom lost the trust of his colleagues because of his schemes. "Ken, we successfully secured the $400 million contract." Back in the CEO's office, Amy and I decided to have a celebration. "Congratulations, Amy," I said, toasting with her. "Thank you, Ken. Without your materials, the presentation wouldn't have gone well." "Really, thank you," Amy said, reaching out to shake my hand, which I returned. "Ken, will you keep working for me? As a driver? As a janitor?" "Of course." Amy smiled brightly as she said this. "Amy, it's about time to go." "I'm coming." Amy came out of the house as she said this. Seeing her, I instinctively opened the back door. "Seriously, when will you stop doing that?" "Oh, right. Sorry, I said, closing the back door and opening the passenger door. "Shall we go, CO Amy?" I said jokingly as she got in. Then I got into the driver's seat. "Drive safely, Vice President Ken." We laughed together as I started the car.